All right, welcome back to the game VOD review stuff. We're going to be going into the third game against Kansas Wesleyan, which will be on Watchpoint Gibraltar. Now, up to this point, so far, it has been 2-0 in our favor. We were able to win Lijiang Tower 2-1, and we were able to full hold on Eichenwald for the second map. So for this map specifically, like I said before, we sort of want to experiment with the three basic compositions of Overwatch, like that being rush, poke, and now for this map, dive. Now, so immediately off the bat, for the hardcore skeptics of like compositions, like me, for example, we aren't running a true dive because of the Zarya and Hanzo. We're playing more of a double bubble sort of style rather than pure dive. But yeah, so Makai, like you having been in this game, like what would you say like just even with us starting, would you say that like dive with Diva potentially could have been better, or would you say that more of this double bubble sort of style would benefit like our rush more, or like how we're used to playing like rush compositions?
I'll say for like this map, a dive with a Diva would probably be better than having the Zarya. So having Winston and Diva in, just because of how important like the high ground can be on, especially on this like first point and the second point.
Hmm.
Like having those two characters who can quickly move between the low ground and the high ground without much difficulty, depending on where the enemy is at any given moment, is
Right.
a little more utility than you get from Zarya's bubble.
Yeah, and yeah, this was James and Dr. Harney. You all weren't here for these sorts of comms, but like the big thing that I was sort of struggling with like what composition we should be running. Like I got super split between running either dive or double bubble. Like here, I think we just ran double bubble all the way through, but as you'll see on attack, we started like sort of swapping back and forth because we couldn't really figure out like what we wanted to go with. But
Mm.
like so far, like what do you all think? Like, is there anything like big that sort of stands out to you just initially?
I liked how at the beginning portion, like right when the game starts out, whenever the attackers the payload's going underneath the overhang, I like how we stayed up top. I really liked that. I feel like I remember past times where we just drop immediately and
Hmm.
contest the cart immediately, but I kind of liked how we stayed above and got that sort of surprise
Hmm.
on the enemy team. And a lot of that is because of how the comp is played, the double bubble comp.
Right. Yeah.
I really like that.
It's like Winston drops in with bubble, gets charged for Zarya in order to
Hmm.
build her graph fast, and then we have graph drag. Yeah. It's like it's definitely a much more different play style than double bubble or like between double bubble and dive, just because like double bubble is more like of a brawl and dive hybrid. Also, just Kevin just
Ooh,
pops off here, just like everyone
massive.
gets funneled into the corridor and he picks up I
Four.
think a
Did
5K
he
here.
get five?
Yeah, and actually I think he oh I steal his sixth kill right
Oh,
at the end.
This
So,
is actually such, even as a casual player, this has always driven me crazy. I hate
yeah.
this choke where you go under in the tunnel is such a pain if the other team has any idea what it's doing, and that's kind of what you guys have done to KW here a little bit, where this is really hard for them now because you guys are kind of dug in and you're feeling good, and we mentioned this in another video, but Kevin Wu, who's Vector, it's such an interesting match, like he just likes to play Genji, and if you can get Genji loose on the backline in this map, it's such a pain for them.
hmm.
And so I wonder how much they're down 2-0 coming into this. I wonder how much momentum is playing a part, you know,
Yeah.
on top of even the comp stuff, because they've kind of broken through a little bit, which is good for them. But that took a lot of mental energy, I think, to push you guys back.
Yeah, and I wonder if, like, we were talking about the whole Newberry game with, like, us rallying together on the third map. I wonder if maybe that sort of same mindset plays into here. Just because, like, they're, like you said, they're down 2-0, and this is the last
Hmm.
map they can score on. So I wonder if that sort of, like, need to rally together sort of plays into the mentality here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna spoil the ending, but it definitely comes
Yeah.
pretty close.
So Makai, you're in the thick of this, and of course Brig, she's gonna, you're not exactly darting in and out of the action. So how are these team fights going from your point of view?
I definitely see like the stuff that I could have done better is in terms of like my movement and making sure that I'm
By the
close
way,
enough.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know that you got trapped there immediately. I did not mean to put focus on that with the camera work. My bad.
Sorry.
It happens a lot with Brig just because.
Just because you're looking around with the third person view, it's like sometimes the trap just because it's buried into the floor, and just how, because this happens to me all the time on Rhine when I'm looking around with the shield. Sometimes the blue of my shield sort of blocks what I need to be seeing right at my feet, so I tend to get trapped all the time.
Well, I think you were going to finish up, Makai, as well.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Generally, what I'm looking to do on this map is I try to stay a little more far back than I normally would in fights, especially since usually on this map they tend to run dive, so if I can get easily caught out. So I'm trying to basically moving a lot more than I usually would, just try and kind of never stay in one place, always trying to look around, see where the enemy team is, throw out a health pack when I see someone in danger, and generally I think I'm playing a lot more of a movement disruption game where I'm trying to generally use my whip shot to get people off that high area or away from the point.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good way to put it. Movement disruption.
Yeah, that's a big thing about how Brig is played. When of course with Brig, with the shield bash, her mace, you're sort of baited into thinking that she's sort of this like Reinhardt, she's just all there to brawl, but a lot of her big playstyle that is especially utilized in upper ranks is just more of movement disruption. The fact that she has 2 CC abilities with her shield bash and her whip shot, she's really able to shut down dives before they even happen by either booping the Winston mid-air or stunning the Winston and then booping him off whenever he lands. So it's a big movement disruption, especially for dive.
Winston dive on the team, I throw my shield first, so that I'm not tempted to do anything crazy, because I know as soon as he drops down, he usually bubbles first. So I wait for him to bubble, then I get up close to him and I'll either shield bash or I'll whip him if I can move him down off of the platform, which I think when they were attacking, I did that once, which kind of ruined a lot of his momentum. But generally, yeah, that's what I kind of do, is just wait for Winston to do something first and then react.
Yeah.
So James, James, you weren't available for this round of matches. So if you had been, and if you got the nod ahead of either Gus or Kevin, do you think you just would have played Hanzo or something and fit in with the plan, or would you have kind of argued to go with somebody else?
No, I definitely would have argued. But I feel like Gibraltar is one of these maps where you can play, again, pretty much anything. So in the end, I don't think it really matters who gets to play. But Hanzo and we're not running the Zarya anymore. I was gonna say the Hanzo Zarya ult combo is super important, but we swapped off to the D.Va. Also, how come we swapped? What was the thought process behind the swap? So
actually, this was something that I actually didn't notice until actually about now. When I do the research stuff, it usually revolves around reviewing Overwatch games. Oh, sorry. Hang on. I need to go back on that, because this is just something that's so unfortunate that happens a lot. So this Arya, she's out here, so body blocked. She can't get through because of Winston's fat body, and then everyone just follows up. It's very, very unfortunate. Again, only showing it because it happens to me all the time. Then of course the Junkrat tire comes in. Definitely a balanced hero.
Junkrat every time Junkrat ults, it might just be my bias, but I feel like it's always aimed at me, and it's very
Yeah,
annoying.
it's like especially knocking out supports with Tire is just so crucial.
Yeah.
And it's like so difficult to like dislodge Tire, especially with like these compositions where you're getting so much like special effects and lighting like all over your screen with all this sensory overload.
Mhm.
It's a lot to take in all at once, and like on top of that to hear like the just the wound up like the for the Tire is just like terrifying.
Well, Blake is back on Zarya now, I see. So that was interesting. That was a little detour to Diva. I don't know what that was about.
Yes. So when I was making when I was like researching compositions that we can run on this map, it was like I think I wrote down dive, which was my mistake. I should have written down like specifically double bubble because like dive can work here. The issue is that like the way that this map works. I'll go and slow it down a bit just so I can not miss any of the action while I'm explaining this. So the big thing is like this high ground is so important, especially for
Mm.
first point, that you need to be contesting it at all times. But that doesn't mean that everyone has to commit to it. Because like normally defensive teams like set up here just because of the high ground advantage. So as long as you're keeping them distracted, like with a Winston, and maybe like one or two DPS to follow up, then the Zarya and the healers, or at least like the Brig or the Mercy and the off tank, like specifically for double bubble Zarya, while the on like hangs back here, like Brig and Zarya can like push the cart under while the team upstairs is distracted, and we can get it like pretty far in that time. And then by the time we get it here, we can like regroup together and then like just like push through and like negate the high ground. The issue with dive was something like the issue with this attack was really I just didn't notice that we were running diva, so my play style needed to change. Like I don't think I was playing like I need to be playing like I was playing super split because I was expecting that I was gonna be able to last like pretty long with the bubbles, but like while I was up here, like I was purposely just like vibing up here to take high ground, like playing by myself. What ends
Hmm.
up happening is so Blake was there with me, our diva player, Blakeu. He was up there with me, but while that was happening, like again, this is my fault because I didn't notice it in time. I was too busy spacing out because I was like, "Oh, we full health. This should be easy," um,
Hmm.
which was my big mistake on my part.
But the supports here are keeping the point alive, just about.
Right, yeah, but
First
like,
Josh, now Mackay. Just
yeah, but
keep going.
we actually end up losing this map. Most just because like on our engagements, again I was sort of playing like very loose. So what ends up happening is
Hmm.
like, specifically right here, our supports are all left alone on the cart to like push it for themselves, while we like the tanks were all like up in this area. So it's just like we've never really run dive all that much. Like we've mostly been a rush neo goats and like poke sort of style team. So dive is kind of new to us, but it's something that we're working on, and um, yeah. So it's just
Yeah.
like this is definitely something that we can improve on, and we're looking to improve on going into future matches.
I think
Well, it
with
seemed.
like,
Go ahead, Mackay.
I think with like our dive comp, like one of the big questions that we kind of need to like ask ourselves is like, what do we do in the lead up after we get killed? So like you see like a couple times, well some of our players will like switch which route they take when they respawn and they come back into the fight. So sometimes they'll go back immediately on top. Sometimes they'll switch and start going on lower to start pushing the point. And there's not really like a consensus of like which direction should we be going when we get back into the fight. Because
Hmm.
sometimes like are we going directly back into the fight or are we gonna go back start pushing the point and try and get a little bit of progress on that while the other team or the rest of the players start fighting, and that kind of leads some of us to get caught out.
Right, right, exactly, and that does it plays a role like that plays a major role, especially in like if we ever like swap heroes, it absolutely changes the play style. Like what I was mentioning with the like Zarya versus Diva, like with Diva you want to like be full committing onto the enemy, like constantly be diving them, and like pressuring them out and like working as a team to like focus down like a specific target. Whereas with Double Bubble, it's more of as the Winston, I'm going to be playing more as a distraction, like building my ult, building our Ana's ult, while like trying to pressure them off from point or not point, but like their like position, like let's say up here. Like I dive them up here, I'm usually going to get down out a lot of cooldowns. And meanwhile, while I'm serving as a distraction, our Zarya and our Ana, who is currently being tased right now, which that's unfortunate, are usually pushing cart under here. So it's like it's always like that's the big thing. Like with panic switching, it's always a problem in and not necessarily a problem depending on the character, but with it's just like it's a big thing, especially for like coordinated games like this when we're playing against like other like like scrim ready teams for the lack of a better term, like other like semi pro
Yeah.
not I don't want to say professional because we're
right.
collegiate, but you know what I mean. It's yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like that doesn't really that doesn't really apply here because like we knew what we wanted to do. There was just a bit of confusion of like how we wanted to play this map, but overall it's like the like one hero can like change the style of the composition, and like everyone needs to be aware that that's how we're going to be playing that composition, especially me. So
Well, it's something that when we're playing a game, when I'm watching you guys on stream, if the other team starts making switch picks, I start to feel really good. I mean, usually if that's happening, it's because things are going well for us. That's not always the case. Obviously, people are making decisions. Okay, they're making stuff up and everything else, but it tends to be a little bit of a, it can be, I think, a telltale sign that there's something a little bit wrong with the communications or morale or something like that. And not necessarily in some big dramatic way either. You know what I mean? Like it can be small things. But for me, coming out of this, you guys won this 2-1 against Kansas Wesleyan, and it seems to me, obviously, if we play KW again this season, they could be a different team entirely. They could be improved, but it's a successful night from my perspective because, they look to me to be a good team, but I think we're a better team at the moment based on these performances, and so that's a nice place to be. Like that's kind of. Like, I think that if you did meet these guys again in the regular season, you'd be giving them a lot of respect, but you'd be feeling fairly confident.
yes,
Now, they'd
yes.
probably be feeling pretty decent too, because they'd feel like, hey, we were tight with those guys. So I think this seems like it was a good placement match in that sense. I wouldn't be surprised if we are in the same division or the same kind of tier of divisions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, like how I've sort of what I've noticed with these placement matches, especially from last season, like if you 2-1 with a team during placement matches, you're usually in their division. But also one thing I want to go and point out with Kansas Wesleyan, like yes, I'm talking about like how we sort of like had some miscommunication errors, but I just want to go and point out how well Kansas Wesleyan sort of responded to that. Yes, I'm on the team that they beat, of course. Well, not beat, but like beat for this map specifically. But I just want to go and point out like how well they were able to like sort of capitalize on our sort of hesitancy, which honestly just shows like how like evenly balanced we are. Like yes, we did have the edge like at the end of this game, just with the 2-1 win. But I'd say like if we were to go again like multiple times, they could definitely take a lot of maps off of us. Which really makes me think that I'd say that they would definitely be like on the same level as us. Like whether it's like high emergence or like I don't know, like mid to low challengers, like how we were last season. I'd definitely say they were absolutely like on our level.
And I have to say, if anybody's watching this who's kind of trying to grow an esports program at the college level or high school level for that matter, from my perspective as the person who is trying to round it up, and give you guys a chance to kind of to win and to play together and stuff, being in a position, NECC is doing this for us right now. Being in a position to feel confident we're going to be placed against teams that are exactly what you just described, Joseph. These are two teams that are in a similar place. We're in a similar place skill wise. We seem to be in a similar place development wise. Seem to be in a similar place attitude wise and organization wise, and it's huge. Again, go back to Mackay and I are the old guys. Oh, well, I'm older than you, Mackay, but Mackay will remember, playing groups Harney found in a random Discord, was not ideal, you know. So it's really great to be playing other collegiate teams. So
Oh
I
yeah,
think it's one of the reasons college esports is growing so quickly. Actually, is that people are coming out of high school and they want that experience.
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like this is absolutely it's like when you think of I'm sure when the average Joe sort of thinks of like video games as like college sports, like I'm sure it's gonna be like something to shrug off, but I have pretty good confidence that like this is going to be like collegiate esports, especially like once it starts becoming like noticeable like mainstream wise. I absolutely think that this sort of, for lack of a better term, like sector, I'm not an economics guy so I don't know the proper terms, but like this sort of media like is just, it's something that I'm sure a lot of people, especially with this new generation coming up, are going to enjoy. And it's like it's absolutely something that's always fun to be a part of, and I have high hopes for it.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I think aside from that, 2-1 victory. Watchpoint Gibraltar, always a good map to look back on and learn from. But do we have any? Since this is our third and final map to close out the Kansas Wesleyan game review, do we have any closing comments at all?
Really well played overall. I can definitely see how the fatigue aspect works into this. And that'll just come back once we all start playing again and getting into the swing of things, working as a team, because we did just come off of winter break. So
Right. This is our first game
overall,
back.
very well played. Roll Kearns.
And
Roll
GG
turns.
Kansas Wesleyan, well done,
Yes.
well done all.
Yep.
Cool.
GG's. And yeah. Makai, did you have anything?
And I think it was a pretty hard fought match on all sides. Good, fun to watch.
Yep. Big agree there. Couldn't have asked for a more close match.
Huh.
But yeah, with that said, that'll wrap up our Watchpoint Gibraltar, as well as the Kansas Wesleyan game VOD review. And hope you all enjoyed. This may be something that we continue later on in the future, so we'll see how it goes. And we'll see you all later.